So in this today's video, we're actually going to understand the concept of rounding off of numbers, how to round off a particular number. So we actually have 4 rules to understand how to round off any number. So in this lecture, we are going to study these 4 rules step by step to understand the rounding off process. Let's begin. So let's try to understand what's the rule number 1 is. Rule number 1. The rule number 1 says that if the digit that we want to drop or remove is greater than 5, then the preceding digit must be raised by 1. Let's try to understand this concept or this statement with more resolution by doing some examples questions. Okay, so let's do this problem so that you will definitely going to understand this statement very clearly. So the question say that round off up to 3 digits. So we want to round off all these numbers up to 3 digits. So before that, let's try to understand what it actually means by round off up to 3 digits. Round off up to 3 digits, which means that we only need 3 numbers, and in all these numbers we only need 3 numbers, and we want to delete all the further numbers, like we want to delete 86, we want to delete 60. We only need 3 numbers, so we are going to round off up to 3 digits, and we are going to drop this number. This number means actually we are going to drop from this number, which means we don't want any number, we don't want 86, we don't want 60. So we want actually in the rounding off process we must have to look at the number that we want to drop at the first, which means this is the number we are dropping, actually these 2 numbers, but the first number we are going to drop is actually 8. So according to the rule here, the number that we want to drop out is actually 8, right? So this 8 is actually greater than 5. So let's read the rule once more. If the digit that we want to drop or remove is greater than 5, of course here 8 is the number that we want to drop, so it is actually greater than 5, right? Then the preceding digit, the word preceding digit must be raised by 1. What is actually mean by preceding digit? The word preceding means before. So the digit that we want to drop is actually 8, and the before digit of 8 is actually this, right? So here we just want to rise, preceding digit must be raised by 1. We must have to raise this number by 1, which means 8 become 8 plus 1, 9. So the final result will become 5.39, okay, because this 8 is increased into 9, 8 plus 1, 9, and we dropped both 2 numbers. Okay, so let's take another example too. So here we want to retain 3 numbers, which means round off up to 3 digits, which means we only want 3 numbers, and we want to drop this 6. Okay, the 6 is a number here we want to drop, and the 6 is actually greater than 5. So what we have to do is increase the preceding number by 1, which means the final answer will become 9.33. So here 2 become 3, 2 plus 1 is equal to 3. So let's take another example to the third example, 1.9177. So here we want to retain 3 digits, and we want to drop this number. So this number is actually greater than 5. Okay, so what we have to do in the rounding off process is the final answer must retain with extra 1, okay, which means 1.91 become 1.92. Okay, perfect. So I hope you guys understand the rule number 1 right now, because the rule number 1 says that if the digit that we want to drop or remove is greater than 5, okay, So in all these cases, the number we want to remove or drop is actually greater than 5. Here it is 8, 6, 7, all are greater than 5. Then what we have to do? We must have to do that. Then the preceding digit must be raised by 1. So here the 8 become 9, the 2 become 3, the 1 become 2. Perfect. So I hope you guys understand the rule number 1, and let's take the final example 2. Okay. In this final example, there is actually a little bit difference because, okay, let's check what the difference is. We must have to round off up to 3 digits, which means we want 3 numbers, and the digit that must be dropped is actually 4. This 4 is actually less than 5, right? 4 is not greater than 5. 4 is less than 5. So we only studied about the rule that if the number that to be dropped is greater than 5, then the preceding digit is increased by 1. But here, the digit that we are dropping is less than 4. So we don't know what to do when rounding off the number. So here comes the rule number 2. So let's go to the rule number 2. What's actually the rule number 2 means? If the digit that we want to drop or remove is less than 5, of course, we saw a problem where the drop that we want to drop is actually less than 5, then the preceding digit remains same or unchanged. Very important point. Remains same or unchanged is less than 5. Okay, so let's look some examples so that we can understand this statement with more resolution. So, okay, let's take these examples. Here, the question is round off up to 3 digits, which means, of course, we only need 3 digits. We don't want these digits. We don't need that. So we only need this much digits, and we want to drop this 4. For this 4 is actually less, okay, less than 5. So what we have to do is, we don't want to consider anything. We just want to, if the digit that we want to drop is actually less than 5, just do nothing. Just delete that and then write the balance. That is 1.32 is the answer. So let's look at another one. So here the example is 3.3333. Here we want only 3 numbers and we want to drop this 3. Okay, we want to drop this 3. So this digit that we want to drop is actually less than 5. So what we have to do is just delete that numbers, and then the preceding digit will definitely remain unchanged. So that is, the answer will be 3.33 itself. Okay, let's do one more example. So here, round off up to 3 digits, exactly the same question. So we only want this 3 numbers and we don't want this number. So the first digit that we want to drop is actually 1. And so the 1 is actually less than 5. So what we have to do is just retain the number as it is, that is 4.43, and delete the balance. Perfect. So I think you guys understand this statement right now. If the digit that we want to drop or remove is less than 5, of course, all the digit that we want to drop is actually less than 5, then the preceding digit remain same. Here the 2 remain 2, the 3 remain 3, the 3 remained as 3 itself. Okay. So then let's check the 4th and the 5th example. There is a little bit difference in this case because we already studied about the rule 1 and rule 2, which states that if the dropping digit is greater than 5 and less than 5, we know what to do. But here there is a difference. So let's check what the difference is. So we only want this 3 digits. We want to delete this. So the digit that we want to drop is actually 5. We actually studied about the rule which says that if the digit that we want to drop is greater than 5 and less than 5, we know what to do. But here, the digit that we want to drop is actually equal to 5, so we don't know what to do. So here, and in this example also, the digit that we want to drop is actually equal to 5. Okay. So we don't know what to do. We don't know what the result is. We really don't know. We really don't know what the result is because we didn't study any rule about this. So here comes the application of this is actually an application of the rule 3 and also the rule 4. Okay. So let's check out what is the rule 3 and rule 4. So the rule 3. Okay, if the digit that we want to drop or remove is equal to 5, of course we got, and followed by a non-zero number. This is really important. This point is really important. Followed by a non-zero number. What is non-zero number means? Non-zero number means a number which is not 0. 1, 2, 3, 4 up to 9 is actually a non-zero number. So then what we have to do is increase the preceding digit by 1. For a better understanding, let's take some examples. Okay. I'm taking this example. So in the question it is saying that round off up to 3 digits. I want to round off this up to 3 digits, which means I only need 3 digits, and this is the number I just want to drop. And the dropping number is actually equal to 5 and is followed by a non-zero number. Listen carefully. This number is that this 5 is actually followed by a non-zero number. So what we have to do, we must have to increase the preceding number by 1, which means the result will become 3, of course 3.11, okay, and the 2 will be increased as 3, that is increased as 1. Okay, then let's take the second example. So we need 3 numbers and we want to delete or drop this 5. So this 5 is actually followed by a non-zero number, and so if the 5 is actually, if the number to be dropped is actually 5 and is followed by a non-zero number, then definitely what we have to do is raise the preceding number by 1. So the answer will become 5.34. We raise the 3 plus 1 gives the 4. Okay, so let's check this example. So here also we must have to retain the 3 digits. We only need the 3 digits and we want to drop this 5. The digit that we want to drop is actually 5. Okay, so then if you find out the digit that you want to drop is 5, then what you have to look the next is actually you want to look at the next number. If that number is a non-zero number, which is a number other than 0, of course, here the number is 1. So what you have to do is just raise the preceding number by 1 during the round off process. So here the answer comes as 5.22. Next one also, we want to retain the 3 digits and we want to look which digit we want to drop. So the digit that I want to drop is actually 5, and the 5 is actually followed by a non-zero number. Then definitely I am going to raise the preceding number by 1. 5.22 become 5.23. Okay, perfect. So I hope you guys understand the rule number 3 right now. So the rule number 3 says that if the digit that we want to drop or remove is equal to 5, then and followed by a non-zero number. This statement is really important. You must have to ensure the digit that, if you have find out the digit that you want to drop is 5, then you must have to ensure the digit that followed by the 5 is actually a non-zero. Then only you can able to increase the preceding number by 1. So let's read the rule once more. If the digit that we want to drop or remove is equal to 5 and followed by a non-zero number, this is really important. So I'm just underlining the sentence because this is really important. Equal to 5 and followed by a non-zero number, really important. Then increase the preceding digit by 1. Okay, perfect. So we studied the rule 3 also, and let's check out the next 2 examples because these 2 examples is a little bit different. Because let's check out what is the difference in this. Okay, so we want only 3 numbers and we want to delete these 2, and the digit that we want to drop is actually 5. Okay, so what do we have to do? The second step we want to do, if we find out the digit that we want to drop is 5, is actually look the number followed by 5. Is that a non-zero number? No, it's a 0. There the problem comes. So here also in the second example, in the last example also, the digit that to be dropped is equal to 5 and is not followed by a non-zero number. It is actually followed by a 0. So we don't know how to round off this number because we didn't study the rule. So here comes the rule number 4, the last and final rule. So let's study that rule also. The very last rule, the rule number 4. So what it says, so the rule 4 says that if the digit that we want to drop or remove is equal to 5 and followed by a 0, then there are two chances, then there are two methods. Okay, then increase the preceding digit by 1 if the preceding digit is an odd number. Really important. This rule is really important because many of the students will make it wrong in some of the examinations, because this is a rule that making you a little bit confused. So study the rule 4 really well, and it's really easy too, but students always make mistake in this particular rule number 4. So let's read. Okay, this we are actually reading this one, and then the one condition is this and the other condition is this: preceding digit remains same or unchanged if the preceding digit is even. Okay, so let's understand this rule with examples so that it will be easy to understand this rule with examples. Okay, to understand this 4th rule, I have taken 2 examples, this one and this one. So the first example is actually for this statement, and the second example is actually for this statement. So this one is for this and the second one is for this. So let's do it. So we want to round off up to 3 digits, which means we only want this much digit, and we actually want this digit to be dropped. So this 5 is actually followed by a 0. So what we want to look is, what is the preceding number? If the preceding number is odd, then we must have to rise that preceding number by 1. So here the 1 is actually an odd number. So what we have to do is rise the number by 1. That means the 1 will become 2. That is the final answer become 1.12. Okay. So the second one also, the digit that we want to drop is actually equal to 5 and is actually followed by a 0. Then what we have to look at is the preceding number. So we want to understand what the preceding number is. Is it an odd number or even number? So the 2 is an even number. So what we have to do here is just remain that as it is. There is no change in the number. So the final answer become 1.12 because the preceding number is an even number. So the first problem resembles this one, this statement, and the second problem is for this one statement. Because increase the preceding, this is actually really important. Okay, I'm actually underlining this one. If the digit that we want to drop or remove is equal to 5 and followed by a 0, here also look at these 2 examples. The digit that we want to drop is actually 5 and is actually followed by a 0. So this is really important. Okay. Then what we have to do is we have to look at the preceding numbers. If the preceding number is odd, look, the preceding number is odd, then increase the preceding digit by 1. So here the preceding number was an odd number. So what we have done is we just increase that by 1. That means 1 become 2. But here also the digit that we want to drop is actually 5 and is actually followed by a 0. And if a case come like this, that means the digit that we want to drop is actually 5 and it is followed by a 0. What we have to look is the preceding number. So the preceding number is even here. So there is no change because the preceding number is even. So the 2 remain as it is. Okay. So the 1.1250, when it round off, it becomes 1.12. So this is the 4 rules that we want to know to study the concept of rounding off of numbers. So with these 4 rules, we studied the complete concept that related to rounding off of numbers. Okay, let's do 5 more problems to understand the 4th rule and the 5th rule very clearly. So it is saying that round off up to 2 digits, which means we only need 2 digits here. Okay, and we want to cut out all the other digits. So here the digit that to be dropped is actually 5 and is actually followed by a 0. So if the digit that we want to drop is actually 5 and is actually followed by a 0, then it's actually the rule number 4. Okay, we must have to look at the preceding number. If the preceding number is actually even, then just write the number as it is. Just drop all those numbers and write the number as it is. Like the final answer will be 1.8, because we don't want to increase the number, because 8 is actually an even number. Okay, so this is actually the problem related to the rule number 4. So let's do the second one. We want to round off up to 2 digits, which means we only need 2 digits, and the digit that we want to drop is actually 5, and that 5 is actually followed by a 0. So the rule is rule number 4. So what we have to look is the preceding number. If the preceding number is odd, we must have to raise the number by 1. So 7 is an odd number, so the final answer will be 1.8. Okay, let's look at the third question. In the third question also, we want to round off up to 2 digits, because in question it is saying that round off up to 2 digits, and the digit that we want to drop is actually 5 and is followed by a 0. Then what we have to do is we must have to check the preceding number. If the preceding number is even, then raise the number by 1. Here the preceding number is actually 3, and we must have to raise the number 3 by 4, because it's actually an odd number. Okay, so the next also we must have to keep the 2 numbers, and the digit that we want to drop is actually 5, and the 5 is followed by 0. So we must have to look the preceding number. The preceding number here is actually even, so according to the rule 4, we have to increase the number by 1. So the final answer will be 1.2. Let's take the final example. So we must have to keep this 2 numbers, and we don't want these numbers. So the first digit that we want to drop is 5, and the 5 is actually followed by 0. So we must have to check the preceding number whether it is even or odd. If that is even, then we don't want to do anything. Just delete this number and write the number as it is. But here the preceding digit is actually an odd number. Okay, 9 is actually an odd number. So what we have to do is increase the digit by 1. So the 9 plus 1 is equal to 10. So 0. The 9 plus 1 is equal to 10. So like 0 and 1 will be here, and this will become 9.0. So the answer will become 9. So these are the 4 rules that we have studied today. The rule number 1, 2, the rule number 3, and the rule number 4.